Hey guys, this is Luca van Oss, and in this tutorial I will show you my mastering chain of my hard and industrial techno tracks. So the first thing that I will do normally is cutting out some resonant frequencies. Here in this track I cut out some frequencies around 400 Hz, 650 Hz, 950, 1200 and somewhere around the 10K range. I do this because the resonant frequencies they trigger the compressor and the limiter too much, and they also are really like painful to your ear. So next on, after the equalization, I'll move on to the bass room plugin. Do you want to take your techno productions to the next level? Book a studio session with me and let's work. And this is like a really effective and simple to use plugin. Here I boosted some frequencies around 20 to 40 Hertz. And also I boosted some frequencies around the 60 Hertz. And finally I cut some frequencies around 160 Hertz. Next on we will move on to the compressor. Here I use the FabFilter Pro C2. I normally first start with setting the attack pretty slowly and a faster release with a ratio around 3. And the threshold until I'm cutting around 1 or 2 decibels. After the compressor, we will move on to the Pro MB. This is a multiband compressor, and here I can solo every single band. So I made 5 bands, and I'm attenuating the threshold, and I'm hearing if I want to boost the frequencies or I want to duck them. I boosted some frequencies around the 5K Hertz with a high shelf, and I used the expand mode to boost certain frequencies around this range. And then I removed some muddy frequencies around the 300 Hertz, and I boosted some mids. After the multiband compressor, I used the saturator from Ableton. Here I used the soft sine preset, and I put the output to -3, and I used this plugin to add uneven frequencies. Afterwards, we move on to the Ozone 11 Imager. I use this plugin to give some more width to my track. I want to keep my track below 200 Hertz quite mono, as you can see. And here in the mids and in the highs, I gave it more width. After this imager, we will move on to the FabFilter Pro Q3 to boost some mids. Make sure that linear phase is on, so it doesn't mess up with the phase. And afterwards, I doubled the EQ and I put it on side mode right over here. And I cut some frequencies, only 1 dB. So next on, we will move on to the Brainworks 298 EQ. This is one of my favorite EQs. And in this EQ, I boosted the 5K range with a high shelf EQ, only about 1 dB. And the great thing about this plugin is that it also adds harmonics. It works like a saturator. So at the end of my chain, I will use a clipper. I use the clipper before the limiter, so that the limiter doesn't have to work that much. So with this clipper, I want to cut some transients, as you can see over here, or it's only cutting like the peaks of my track. And in the final stage, I will use my limiter. On the limiter, I got a slower attack, a pretty fast release, and I put some look ahead, and the style will be around. With this limiter, I want to cut only like a maximum of 3, maybe 4 dB, because otherwise it will sound too compressed and too distorted. And finally, we will get a mix with the LUFS of -6 and a true peak of -0.2.